Hi, thanks very much, Sam, and thanks very much for having us up here in this an interesting new format. Um, STEAM is the shortened version of the long project title you can see here. I'm not going to talk you through it other than to say that we got this funding from a research call to do with decarbonising the grid. So it's a research call around grid scale energy storage. So although we're talking about storing thermal energy, we're really talking about storing thermal energy as a service to the electrical grid. And as Sam said, it's collaboration between Strathclyde and Edinburgh. We've got a large part of the delivery team here giving talks, other bits of the delivery team peppered through the room. So what's the kind of the philosophy behind STEAM? The idea is that when renewable energy is intermittent, when we have too much energy in the grid, we pay the renewable energy companies to turn off the turbines. And in East Ayrshire alone, we don't generate 120 gigawatts a year that we could generate. And that costs all of you as customers about £40 a year on your gas bills to pay those curtailment fees. What we want to do is to take that energy, not turn the wind turbines off, use that energy to heat up water in a mine shaft, not in a mine workings, but in a mine shaft. And if we can take it to 55 degrees, then on a no wind day, we can take that heat straight out, put it into a heat network without the electrical demand of a heat pump. So we're sort of reducing the peak there. Now there's all these ifs. If we could use 1% of the mine shafts in the UK to do this, and if we could take those to 55 degrees, then in a week when there's no wind in the middle of winter, what's called a worst case weather week, we could heat 10% of the UK's homes for 1 week. So the opportunity is huge, but so are the ifs. So what the STEAM project is trying to do is to reduce the uncertainty on some of those ifs. We want to check whether my 1% figure I made it up for the proposal, but is it reasonable? And the answer is sort of. Is it structurally safe? So that's what we'll be talking about that. Is 55 degrees going to create any problems with the water? Indrani will be talking to us about that. Where will the heat go? Jessica will be talking about that. How does that plug into the grid? How does that work in the energy system? And that's Bryn Eng at the end. But finally, here's our work packages. Finally, my work package that I'm leading is to actually do it. As we've heard a number of times this last couple of days, we want to be doing stuff. We don't want to be modelling stuff. So fingers crossed, if a whole load of dominoes fall into place, later this year, we will be injecting heat into a mine shaft just south of Edinburgh. Townrock Energy are our subcontractors who will have designed the experimental setup. We're not going to talk about that today, but if anybody wants to know more about that experiment, come and ask me after coffee. But without any further ado, I will pass you on to the people who are doing the real work so far. And first of all, we have Indrani telling us about the chemistry.